Hey, my name's Cameron Ure. I'm with XYZ Realty. Did your neighbor let you know I'd be coming by?
No, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm just actually in the neighborhood because I have a client that's interested in a home super similar to yours. Have you ever considered selling your house?
I have not. Um,
Cool.
yeah, I haven't.
No worries. Is this your forever home then? Will you be here for the rest of your life?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's, maybe something I might consider in the future, but who knows?
Yeah, totally. Are you thinking like maybe 3 to 5 years, or how soon do you think you'd want to make a move?
Thank you for joining us today. Today we've got Cameron Ure, right?
Year.
Ure, Cameron
Yeah.
Ure out of the Utah market, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Cameron has been absolutely crushing it in the real estate industry for a little while now. I wanted to get him on here to provide some value to you guys out there, especially those who are heavily door knocking. And Cameron also has a real estate course that we're going to plug in towards the end as well. But yeah, man, Cameron. So thanks for jumping on. Can can you give us a little idea of who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, Cameron, you're in the Utah market,
When you
licensed in,
start?
say what?
Yeah. So let's go back before you get into real estate. What did you do before real estate actually?
Yes. So before I did real estate, I installed hardwood floor. And so no sales, no nothing, manual labor. And it was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. It's just, I wanted to make more money.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, man, because I noticed so I used to do roofing.
There you go.
I was also in the military. I was in the Marine Corps, but I think people that come from like the physical labor aspect greatly appreciates the real estate aspect.
Oh, it is humbling once you come from
Yeah.
physical labor to the mental labor of real estate. That's for sure.
Yeah. How long did you do that for?
I did it for just about a year, and then that's when I jumped into more real estate related stuff.
Cool. Awesome. And then how did you get introduced to real estate?
Books, to be honest. I was super into the self-education side of stuff, and so I just started picking up books, read everything, listened to everything possible, and then tried to figure out a way to get into it, and landed as a leasing agent first, and then eventually got fully licensed as a full realtor. So
Got it. And the books you were reading, were they agent specific or investing specific?
investing specific. Yep. I think we can all agree that an agent is usually licensed due to wanting to become an investor. I think there's that draw to that. And so, yeah, I was reading Bigger Pockets. I was reading all of that type of stuff. And it was just like, I got to figure out how to make more money so I can buy rental properties. So
That's awesome, man. We've got that in common. A similar approach too. I got in more for the investing side, but then I ended up liking the agent side a lot. And I was like,
yeah.
I can do really well in it.
Yep.
When did you get in? What year?
Man, what year was that? That was 2019. Yeah, 2019.
Cool. You remember the month?
I got licensed in October 2019, I think.
Oh, shoot. Dude,
Something like that.
We got licensed right around the same time. I got licensed in August 2019.
There you go. Cool. Yeah.
So that's awesome, man. So tell me, when you got into the industry, what was your approach in regards to the lead gen at first?
At first, it was cold calling, and I got my trash kicked. I was not enjoying that. I was calling for, I think I called for 6 hours a day. I had no mercy, was just trying to get business, didn't really have any option. And I was just either really bad at it or had no idea what I was doing. And to be honest, I think it was more of didn't know what I was doing, but probably a mix of both.
See, that's interesting because when I started in real estate, because I had some door knocking experience selling, windows and roofs.
Yeah.
So I started door knocking with real estate at first, and I'm over here in Virginia, and it gets really hot. So I started door knocking, and then I switched over to cold calling because it was a little easier to be in the AC and cold calling.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah.
You did the opposite.
Yeah.
So, and how long did you give cold calling a try for?
I cold called for about 4 or 5 months or so, 4 or 5 months.
Cool. And you remember like how many dials you were making on a monthly basis at all, or not really?
Oh, I have no idea how many dials I was making on a monthly basis. I do know that I mean I had the triple dialer, had all that good stuff, was calling, and so it was a lot. I
Yeah,
called a ton, and I just don't think I had the right leads. I was part of a team that was giving me leads that were just like off of Facebook. All the conversations were just like, I don't even know who you are, and so just a really, really bad setup. And that's why it's super important to have the right setup, have a right team, have a right brokerage, and I just didn't have any of that.
gotcha. And then, so you tried that for about 4 months or so, and then you went to door knocking. Who got you into door knocking? I know the answer already for the people that don't. Like, who got you?
Well, so for those that know, there's somebody that got me into door knocking that was my mentor, but then the real person that got me into door knocking was my wife, because she almost forced me to quit real estate if I didn't start succeeding. And so truly who forced me to do it was my wife, because I was like, I don't really want to door knock, but I need to make money for our family. And so yeah, I met a mentor his name was Dwayne, and he kind of showed me the ropes of how to get into the industry of door knocking.
That's awesome. And so from 2019 to now, are you still actively door knocking?
I door knock for my students and people I coach and train, and so I build content around that. And from a prospecting standpoint, not really. No, I don't really knock anymore unless it's for a listing of my own, and that's part of my listing presentation is I knock the neighborhood for the seller and stuff like that. So.
Got it. Okay, cool. So like nowadays it's more like, I guess, inbound from past clients, referrals and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely blessed to be able to now say I have a repeat and referral business that I haven't really had to even prospect for 2 years. I haven't knocked a door for active prospecting in a long time.
That's awesome, man. And did you ever, like, after you stopped doing the door knock, did you ever pick something, like, did you ever try cold calling again, or not really, just start focusing on coaching agents?
Yeah, no, never really tried cold calling again. I think there's a gradual progression that I kind of figured out where if you have enough conversations, have a big enough database and system built off of that, you can turn it into forever business. I call it prospect stacking, where you stack different prospecting methods on top of the other to get to the point where you can kind of retire from the day-to-day grind of a real estate agent.
Yeah, it's you're definitely right on that. It's a similar concept that I have, but more with the cold calling approach, building up a database, and then you just allow after you close deal, like a ton of deals, and then you're still stacking up the database and you're nurturing that database. It kind of keeps refilling itself almost, I guess you could say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pipeline starts maturing.
Yeah.
When you first started door knocking, so that was going to be, so you probably started like, I guess, realistically door knocking in the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, my first door knocked was January 2020.
How did it go with COVID? Were people worried to come to the door, or they didn't care as much in your market?
Yeah, it was wild. So I started door knocking midwinter in Utah. And for those that have been to Utah in midwinter, you're feet deep in snow. And so it was brutally cold. COVID hit. I was stressed out because like I'm door knocking. This is my mode of prospecting, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to continue it. And I just did. I think a lot of agents kind of scurried away and were like, I don't feel comfortable. And I just stayed back, kept having those conversations. And I think that's really what set me up for success, is because I just didn't really slow down.
Yeah. So the people didn't really care if you were at the door or not, because you're just there anyways, pretty much.
Yeah, I was super respectful, stood back a lot just to respect everybody's concerns, because some were more concerned than others. There was one person that was super upset. It was a guy that threatened to punch me in the face because I was too close. And that's a funny story for another time. But yeah, that was really the only one.
Gotcha. And on average, what would you say, how many doors it took for you to generate a lead? Like, so it would take, like, I don't know if you know your number. Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
I do. Yeah. So the way this is calculated is skewed. So don't take this as scripture, but for the total amount of doors I knocked.
And before you go into it, like when you say it's skewed, like are you saying because it's dependent on the person, their approach, the market that they're in, and
No, more so the time. So
Okay.
for example, from the first day I knocked to the last day I knocked, or really when I started to kind of transition my business, I totaled up all of those contacts because I'd never really took note of really what my conversion rate was during it. But after the fact, I totaled it all up and then just determined how many deals came from door knocking. And I figured out that for every 40 doors I knocked, I actually ended up getting a transaction. And
Wow.
so that's, like I said, skewed because it's for the first 5 months, I got no business, or first 4 months, I got no business. But then there were months where I put 10 homes under contract, so
Yeah.
that's why I say it's kind of
Got
skewed.
it. So I mean, similar to cold calling, right? You pipeline maturity with any type of sales
Exactly.
lead approach. So, so you think it took about 4 months or so in order for you to start seeing deals from your month one, essentially, almost?
Yeah, almost exactly. It was a little less than 4 months. It was about 3.5 before it really took off, and I kind of never looked back.
Got it. And when you didn't have any listings, how did you select on the neighborhood?
Yeah, so honestly, I just used the MLS to filter the transitory neighborhoods. So where there was a lot of activity, homes under contract, homes being sold, pending homes, like all of those were just searched, and then I would see where the most activity was and then go to that neighborhood. And that's how I picked a neighborhood, because I just wanted to see where people were moving. So
you kind of decided on the price point you want, the turnaround, right? Things like that.
Yep, exactly.
Cool. It's a similar approach too with the cold calling route. Like that's the way I do it as well. So it's pretty cool seeing, the similarities there.
Yeah, honestly, cold calling and door knocking, in the sense of like circle prospecting, in a sense,
Yep.
where you pick a neighborhood, it's almost exactly the same. It's just one is over the phone and one's in person. The system of how to find leads, the conversation's pretty similar as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, some people just like it in person and some don't.
It's funny you say that, because sometimes, when I'm coaching agents, they're like, especially if I'm going door knocking and whatnot, curious on what to say. And I'm like, and they've done circle prospecting before. And it's like, guys, it's not always like the script or anything. It's literally a similar concept. Like, so like sometimes when I'm at the door, I am literally using my circle prospecting script almost at the door, and it still converts.
Yep.
So, cool. Awesome. So can you give me an idea of year one from your door knocking efforts, how many transactions you were able to get done? Oh, actually, you know what? Before you do that, what did your typical day look like?
Yeah, man, typical day was crazy, because year one, I was actually still a full-time college student. Biggest mistake I ever made. I wish I didn't.
What, just drop college altogether, you're saying? Or
don't tell my parents, but yes. College was great. I'm glad I went through it, but I would be waking up super early in the morning, 4:35, doing school, and then I would get my morning routine in, exercise, get ready, all that stuff, and then I'd be headed to the office to do lead follow-up, emails, just training, practicing my script. Then from 2 until 6, 7, 8 p.m., I was knocking doors. I mean, I knocked 6 hours a day at least. And then I would go home, do more homework, and then rinse and repeat. That's pretty much what the first year looked like.
Was that 5 days a week or like 6, 7 days a week?
5 days a week. And then Saturdays, if I had an open house or something like that. I tried to stay away from the weekends because I was very on the edge of not healthy work-life balance already. Yeah. And so I just tried Monday through Friday.
This is going to sound stupid, but when you went door knocking, because typically when I go door knocking, like I went door knocking yesterday, I'm exhausted today from it.
Yeah.
Do you like drink like a post-workout after you're done door knocking? You drink like protein shake next, like are you sore? Like, because if you do it 5 days a week, it's like a solid workout.
For sure. Yeah, no, I was in really good shape knocking doors, which is weird. Honestly, it doesn't really like relate to real estate in a sense, but it's a killer workout. You're burning a ton of calories, especially when it's hot. And so for me, it was really important to have really good shoes. And then my back is what hurt the most after knocking doors. One, that's from playing football my entire life. And then two, just from standing. And so, yeah, it was exhausting mentally and physically for sure.
Yeah. So that's pretty much like that for 5 days a week. And then tell me what the year one looked like for you transaction wise.
Yeah. Year one, I did 33 deals, sold
Nice.
a little over 10 million in volume. And, I didn't even really know what I was doing at that point. I was just like, I don't know if this is good. I don't know if this is bad. And then I just had my sights set on continuing to grow my business, and eventually got to the point where I couldn't even handle it all. And that's when I started to try to have to figure stuff out. I wasn't just like knock, knock, knock every single day. I was like, okay, I need systems. I need a follow up. Like I didn't have any of that, it hindered me a lot for sure.
Which I'm assuming you got it dialed in now, and that's what you help teach, right? Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's interesting. Another similarity that we had my first year was 33 as well.
Yeah, look at us.
Yeah. So did you have a goal that you were trying to hit, like KPIs, numbers wise, like how many doors, how many contacts? So like mine was, I wanted to dial out 3,000 dials per month,
Nice.
at least. That's what mine was. Like, what was yours like for doors?
Yeah, I wanted to do 250 conversations a week. And
Okay.
so about 1,000 conversations a month.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Cool, man. And then so like obviously as you started getting busier, did you stay consistent with that 6 hours, or you started cutting back a little bit to focus more on the servicing? Like tell me a little bit about that. Like I'm assuming your pipeline started maturing like month 5 to 8, and then like what happened there?
Yeah, pretty much it blew up, and I didn't know what to do because I went on this roller coaster ride of real estate that we've all experienced, where you prospect really hard and then you get really busy with clients. You start showing homes, you start having to service all these deals, but then you stop prospecting. And so you close all those deals and then you're dry again. You're like, sure, I got to give more deals. And so then you prospect again. And so that's what I had to figure out is a system of how to keep the funnel of deals coming. And that's when outsourcing business to a showing assistant, a transaction coordinator, things like that really took my business and automated it, where I can really not have to work a whole ton and still close the same amount of business.
Nice. Awesome. Did you have like a specific CRM you used as well, or not really?
Didn't have a specific CRM. I mainly just used the one at my brokerage. I just paired that my CRM could be integrated with Excel, because that's how I keep track of my door knocking conversations and clientele.
Got it. Okay. So your first year is pretty much TC showing assistant, and then just
that was mainly second year. First year I did it very wrong.
Yeah.
I was drowning, and then I finally second year was like, okay, I got to figure this out. So 6 months into my second year, I figured that out, started to implement a TC showing assistant, and then 6 months into that year, I pretty much stopped door knocking and went all in on like repeat referral servicing previous clients and just my database.
That's awesome. What did your second year look like in total, unit wise?
Second year, I sold 44 homes, and it was a little over 15 million in volume.
That's awesome, man. And what's interesting is like you did it with the spreadsheet, and a lot of people sometimes, like, I mean, my first year I didn't have a CRM either. I did regret not having one. Second year, the board, I had a CRM. But I always get asked from agents as well, like, what's the best CRM? And I used to hear coaches say this all the time, and it's like, it's the one that you use, really.
It's so true. Yeah.
Like, because I've seen now, like, coaches like Brandon, for example, Morenin, he has like literally paper system, and then another agent I know that's like 200-300, he has a binder system. So it's like, don't get sidetracked with that nonsense. Like,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. You just have to put in the work.
Yep.
All right. So for the people that are maybe thinking about door knocking, right, and haven't done it so yet, what are some pointers that you can give? Like,
yeah. One thing I'll say is, if you haven't ever considered door knocking because you're scared of door knocking, or just the stigma around it, or are just like against it because it's door knocking, you don't want to be like labeled that salesperson, you're thinking of door knocking wrong. Because door knocking for me is not going door to door saying, hey, can I sell your house? Instead, you're becoming the neighborhood educator and building relationships with people. And it just becomes super fun where you're having conversations, you're asking questions, you're seeing how you can truly educate and help people. And that's where your business grows, is because you're able to just have conversations and educate, and then follow up with those people with your database and your follow-up system. And it's really hard not to succeed because it's just a numbers game at that point.
Yeah, so true on that, man. And I same thing with people scared of cold call, and I say same thing to the agent that I coach, like they're worried about being that salesperson, but I'm like, wait until you run across that person that actually truly needs your help, and like you're like, thank goodness I called her or knocked on the door, because I've had like an elderly woman break down on the phone, like, I can't believe you called. I'm like, literally somebody just, my husband just passed away, and like one situation, I'm like, wow, like that's amazing that literally I called it at that time, right? And as well, like when you're door knocking or cold calling, I think like for every time when somebody's scared to actually knock on a door or cold call, like after you actually do it, at least for me in the beginning, it felt like it was like, man, like I did that. And like,
oh, it's so fulfilling. It's
know
awesome.
what I mean? It's not like, I've never felt like, oh, I shouldn't have knocked on that door. It was more like, that was a cool feeling,
Yeah. There's this anxiety around real estate agents where you're in this career of like, okay, I'm commission based. I have no deals right now, or I don't know where my next deal is coming from. And that feeling sucks. That feeling of just like stress, anxiety. And once you prospect, even if it's knocking on 10 doors, making 10 calls, that feeling goes away because you're like, I put in the work. I'm proud of myself. I'm seeing myself move forward. And that's why if agents can just be consistent with door knocking, cold calling, open houses, social media, it doesn't even matter. Just be consistent and you're going to grow. You're going to gain business. It's just agents don't know what they're doing and don't stick with it. And that's why they fail.
Yeah, you're so right on that, man. Like spot on. I always say like everything in this business works. I actually don't even believe in like bad leads as much, because the way I look at it is the lead that you're trying to reach out to was somebody else's lead at one point or another. It's like everybody's technically recycling similar leads. And it's just whoever that consistently follows up. And then when they're ready to make that move, so you're so right on that, man. But obviously, continuous, the more you do it, the better you get as well, and then the more confident you get, right?
For sure.
People struggle with not having the confidence at first, but that's where practicing comes into play, like role playing, right? Which is perfect timing to dive into the next part. I want to give the audience a little something, right? I want to do a little quick role playing session, me and you. Pretend we're at the door, give them something good, and just like the old days, if you're out door knocking, pick the neighborhood, right? And you're door knocking. So
cool. So do you want me to be the agent then?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I'll be the seller.
Cool. Knock, knock, knock.
Yeah.
Hey, my name's Cameron Ure. I'm with XYZ Realty. Did your neighbor let you know I'd be coming by?
No. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just actually in the neighborhood because I have a client that's interested in a home super similar to yours. Have you ever considered selling your house?
I have not.
Cool.
Yeah, I haven't.
No worries. Is this your forever home then? Will you be here for the rest of your life?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's, maybe something I might consider in the future, but who knows,
Yeah, totally. Are you thinking like maybe 3 to 5 years, or how soon do you think you'd want to make a move?
I mean, we just bought the house about 2 years ago.
Cool.
I mean, I don't think I don't know. We haven't really discussed it. We're quite happy with the house right now. If we were to make a move, maybe into a bigger home, but not set in stone yet. We haven't outgrown this yet.
Yeah, so you don't have like a specific timeline. You're happy where you're at right now.
Yeah. I'm pretty satisfied with where we're at right now. But I mean, like, there's some things around the house, like like I was saying, like that's what I was saying. I wish our common area was a little bigger, but it's not like a huge thing where we got to make a move right now.
Yeah, totally. What
we would change later?
Yeah, for sure. What would you change about your current house if you could?
Yeah, like the common living area, bedrooms maybe a little bigger.
Yeah.
but it's nothing to the point where like I'd make a move right now because I think the rates are like above like 7 from my understanding. So,
Yeah. So you'd want to make a move if you could get into something bigger, but you're more concerned about cost or price currently.
yeah, shoot, man. Because when we moved in 2 years ago, I think we locked in like three and a half or 3.25 around that range.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe if it got close to that again, because it'd be nice. It wouldn't hurt to have bigger bedrooms, and then bigger common area where we could hang out, backyard and as well inside the house.
Yeah, totally. Well, if I was able to get that bigger, nicer home for you and make you or save you money while doing it, is that something you'd consider?
Potentially. I had to think about it because it really depends because I know I'm gonna have to come up with a down payment and closing costs, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you were to get into a new home for sure, but I mean, with you living here for the past 2 years, you probably have a massive stack of equity, right?
I think so. I don't know how much it's worth nowadays. How much do you think it's worth?
Man, I mean, just from another home I sold down the street, you're probably 450, 500,000 at this point.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We have a good amount of equity, I guess you could say.
Yeah, totally. So if you were to take that equity and cash out, sell your home, would you roll it all into your next home, or what do you think you'd do with that?
I'd probably roll it all into that because to try to keep the payment down. Yeah, probably roll it into that.
Cool. So if we could keep your new payment very similar to your current payment and get you into that newer, nicer home, is that something you'd be interested in looking into?
Potentially, man. It's something I got to chat with the wife on.
Totally. Yeah.
Something I'm, maybe. Yeah, I really like thinking about it. We do have a good amount of equity, and it just really comes down to, do we really need to make the move right now?
For sure. Yeah. And again, I'm not here to sell you either way. I'm just here to run the numbers for you. And so if you don't mind, I would love to run the numbers on some homes that you may be interested in. If you could shoot some over to me, I'll do a quick analysis on it. And then I can come by tomorrow around like maybe 6 p.m. and just break down the numbers. If it makes sense, great. If not, we can just stay in touch until the time is right and go from there. Does that work for you?
Tomorrow, we could put it down tentatively, but can't guarantee it.
Cool. Yeah, let's put it down tentatively. I'll swing by, and then if I don't catch you, I can come by another time.
Oh, all right. Sounds good, man.
Sweet. That was pretty awesome. Much it, man.
That was good, man. That was super smooth.
Thank you.
What do you call it? So something like that where you generate the lead, I'm assuming you grab their information, right? And then do you email them like an intro afterwards at all to review before you meet again, or what do you normally do there?
Yeah, so if you have an IDX website where they can search homes through your brokerage, through your designed app or whatever it may be, I'll text that to them and just say, hey, super great to talk to you. Excited to meet with you tomorrow. Here's my website. Find those 3 homes or so that interest you. Just look around, see what you can find. Shoot those over to me. I'll run the numbers and I'll see you tomorrow. I send over that little message after the day's done or the following morning, just saying, hey, excited to meet with you. Here's my website. And then that's kind of my follow-up system after the conversation.
That's awesome. And then what do you do for the people that are pretty much no's across the board? So like when I'm cold calling, I at least try to add them into my database. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're knocking a door and not getting contact information, or at least pushing to get contact information, it's pretty much a waste of time. And so a lot of the agents that I work with have to get into that habit of asking for contact information, even if it's uncomfortable. And so if you're getting rejected, don't know what you should say, don't know how to handle an objection, you want to have a really systematized or successful way of getting contact information by just providing value, showing how you can give that seller value, and then gaining that contact information.
Got it. So like in that scenario, like let's say, I was just to give you no's, right? Like, no, I'm okay. What would you transition to next? And like in the beginning of your, when you're knocking on the door, do you go for the handshake at all? So like, that's like Do you normally go for a handshake?
No, I've never done the handshake or anything like that. Because I usually will knock the door, step back, kind of get into a more relaxed, comfortable situation. Then once they open, just kind of body language, use my hands, smile, stuff like that. So
Do you match a mirror at all?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, key, crucial.
That was something that we learned when I used to door knock too. Like if somebody would be leaning like this, I would literally lean on something like that and like lay back almost.
Yeah, totally.
Matching as much as I can.
Yeah, you want to match as much as you possibly can. If it's not exactly what they're doing, at least be in the same type of position or something like that for sure.
Got it. So if I was to tell you, no, I'm okay, not interested, like at that point in time, it's like, hey, by the way, like you go in for the name afterwards, and then how would you transition from that?
Yeah, if I'm just getting no's the entire time, a lot of the, I mean, I have multiple different ways to ask for contact information, but the most common is just by saying, hey, I am the local realtor in this neighborhood. I actually provide a customized market report for this neighborhood, so you can be always up to date on home values. I'd love to add you to that because I'll be bringing that around periodically throughout the year. What's a good email for you? So I don't ask, hey, can I have your email? Hey, stuff like that. It's more just like, what's a good email for me to put you down on? So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, similar thing I learned, door knocking as well. And like, what's the best email? And I'm like really ready, like starting to write almost.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
That's cool, man. So I know you leave anything behind at all with them, or
it's rare, but it depends on the time I've knocked them. So if I've knocked them before, I have a 4-step system that I use throughout the year. So if it's my second or third, I usually will bring something. But first or fourth, I'm usually just there by myself with no material.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, the brokerage I'm with, LPT, like, so when we go door knocking, Cameron, so I normally, at least for me at the end, I'll normally leave them. I'll usually have like a listing that I'll go door knocking through, but then they have like a prospecting pack or whatnot if you don't have a listing. I'm curious on your thoughts. So like I normally leave this behind, after I convert it. Here's the information of the listing nearby as well if you want it, if you had any friends or family might be interested. But then if I don't have anybody answering the door, we leave like a door hanger, right? Like, do you think that hurts at all, or it's like doesn't really hurt?
No, I don't think it hurts. My personal opinion, or at least what I did, is I always want to try to have the very first interaction or knowledge of me be personal, where it's actually me communicating with them. But from a door hanger standpoint, if you hang a door hanger, just commit to going back. So you don't want to just leave the door hanger and then never knock again. Me personally, I would hang the door hanger and then make another effort to have a personal conversation, because you want to have the brand marketing of top of mind, but you also want to have the personal connection of relatability when you actually speak with the person face to face. So both together kind of create that win-win scenario.
That's a really good idea, man. Didn't even think about it on that aspect. Because obviously for people that's got hectic schedule, I guess what you can do as well is pull up the numbers and then call back and like, hey, did you get what I left behind?
There you go. Yep. Yeah. That's why what I teach in a prospecting stacking method, it's where you can combine multiple different methods of prospecting. You can combine door knocking, cold calling, and social media, whatever it may be, and putting those together in a system builds an unstoppable method of real estate, where if you're knocking doors, then you go circle prospect, call the neighborhood after the fact. I mean, you're a mega agent within 2 years. It's inevitable.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Well, today's been awesome, man. You definitely dropped some golden nuggets. Really appreciate you jumping on. For the people that are out there listening and want to learn more from you, where can they reach you out at, man?
Yeah, totally. So you can find me on Instagram, just at Cameron Ure Official. And then if you want to hit my website, it's realestateagentschool.co. So
cool. Awesome. Well, you heard it. I mean, you just heard the guy role play as well. He's on top of his game. Definitely recommend reaching out. And I really appreciate your time today, Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one, man.